Hello, my name is Kirsten Popple, and I'll be presenting my compare and contrast essay titled Left Hemisphere versus Right Hemisphere Same Functions, Different Approaches. In this presentation, I'll walk you through my thesis, provide a summary of the essay, discuss my supporting authors and how I used in-text citations, explain the organizational structure that I chose, and finally, review the similarities and differences between the two hemispheres of the brain. My thesis statement reads, the left and right hemispheres of the brain are similar in that they both perform the same essential tasks, but they contrast in how they carry them out. The essay begins by establishing that both hemispheres of the brain share the same core functions, such as language, processing information, and motor control, but they approach these functions very differently. In the first body paragraph, I explain that the left hemisphere dominates in language structure, focusing on grammar, vocabulary, and clear sentence formation. I used research from Binder et al., who note that language functions are lateralized to the left hemisphere of the brain, especially speech production and comprehension. And another study by Kieran and Thompson supports this as well, showing that left hemisphere strokes often result in aphasia, a disorder that impairs the ability to process language. The right hemisphere, on the other hand, handles tone, emotion, and figurative meaning. I cited Jonette et al., who explained that the right hemisphere helps with discourse, prosody, and figurative language. And also Young Beeman, who found that it's crucial for understanding complex or indirect meaning. This shows that both sides contribute to communication, while one focuses on precision and the other one on emotional nuance. The next section compares how both hemispheres process information. The left hemisphere works in a step-by-step logical manner, which is ideal for problem solving and, say, math-based equations. According to Simply Psychology, it handles logic, reasoning, and analytical thought, while in contrast, the right hemisphere focuses on the big picture, creativity, and intuition, which are skills tied to music, art, and imagination. Finally, I discuss how both hemispheres manage motor control. The left hemisphere controls the right side of the body and is more active in motor adaptation, as shown in a study by Taylor and Ivry. The right hemisphere, which controls the left side of the body, is vital for balance and stability, as Winstein et al. Explain. Overall, both sides carry out the same roles, such as communication, thinking, and movement, but each specializes in a different approach, which keeps the brain balanced. Two of the scholarly peer-reviewed journal articles I chose as supporting sources are Binder et al. This article provided evidence for how language is processed primarily in the left hemisphere. And another is Jonette et al., and this study discussed how the right hemisphere handles emotional and figurative aspects of language. When I included these sources in my essay, I formatted my in-text citations in MLA style by placing the author's last name and page number in parentheses after the quoted material. This method credited the original authors while also maintaining proper academic formatting. For this essay, I chose to use the point-by-point structure versus the block structure. I chose the structure to explain 3 examples of different tasks that the brain performs, and then explained how each hemisphere of the brain perform those tasks. In my opinion, this structure makes the comparison easy to follow and shows clear connections between how each hemisphere performs the same functions differently. Now, to summarize the similarities and differences of the two hemispheres of the brain. Both hemispheres are responsible for communication, information processing, and motor control. Each one contributes to making the brain a fully functional adaptive system. But the left hemisphere focuses on logic, language, structure, and precision, while the right hemisphere emphasizes creativity, emotion, and spatial awareness. So while they operate differently, both sides are still necessary for a balanced and effective brain. In conclusion, my essay shows that the two hemispheres of the brain share the same essential functions, but differ in how they carry them out. Thank you for reading my essay and also watching my video analysis of left hemisphere versus right hemisphere, same functions, different approaches.